Today I'm going to start talking about tax planning and what you need to be doing to finish the year off strong. Also to kind of make sure that you're organized and everything is ready for either your CPA or EA that's preparing your tax return, or yourself if you're doing your own tax return. Today I'm going to focus on people that have small side hustles, small businesses, and they need to clean up their books. And I'm just going to focus specifically on the revenue side. And this is how I approach it. This is what I do for myself, clients. This is exactly how the process that I follow. But before I go any further, there are 3 things I want you to do if you get a lot of value out of my content. Number 1, I want you to like this video. Number 2, I want you to subscribe. And number 3, I want you to share it with your friends. If you have friends that are small business owners, they might get a lot of benefit out of this. So anyway, what I want to start with is there's a big thing that people get nervous about when they do any kind of business is they're afraid to get audited. And a big part of why you get audited is because there is some kind of mismatch between the records and what you actually reported on the return. And so I want to follow through a process of what you need to do to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. So let's start. When you get paid, you get revenue, you have a payment processor. Square, PayPal, Stripe, maybe use someone else. But you need to pull those reports because that's where your revenue is coming in. If you have cash, maybe you have some way of tracking that. Oftentimes what I like to do is, like, if I get cash, I'll record it in Square as an invoice to record the cash coming in, so it makes it easier to track in one of the payment processors. You can do that, by the way, if you didn't know that. So I recommend just having a way to track all that, but you want reports because those are coming from third parties that issue 1099s. They issue those 1099s not only to you, but to the IRS, and also a lot of times your state government gets a copy too. So they all have that information. So you need to make sure, and you will do yourself a favor, make sure things line up. So payment processor reports is where you start. Those are official reports that are coming from third parties. You need to have those. The next thing, do your books match those reports? They need to match. So if I sum up all your sales from January to October 31st, which was the last month that closed, does that match your books? If it doesn't, this is probably the time to go ahead and clean that up and get it to match. If you don't know, maybe you need to make an entry to get it to correct, but you want those to match. Like, your books should match what's going on in your sales reports. Ideally, you should do it every month, but again, if you haven't been, go back and do it and get it fixed up. Now, the next thing, sales and business tax returns. Like, if you have any kind of sales, business, gross receipts returns, you need to get those to match up. These should all match. Like, my books, my payment processor, and the sales tax returns all need to line up. Because ultimately, when you get to your income tax return, you want, remember, 1099s are going to here, okay? They get copies, your IRS gets copies. So they know what your total sales were, but your state also gets it. So they know what your total sales are. If you're using your payment processor reports, the people that are issuing you the 1099s, you shouldn't have that issue. You're matching everything up. Ultimately, at the end of the day, let's say you do $1,000 a month and you file a sales tax return every month, right? So I would expect 12 sales tax returns every month. Now, usually you're a month in arrears. So, like, if you have January sales, for example, you'll file a return in February. So I would expect that every month you would show $1,000 of sales right here, right? And then you'll also show $12,000 on your income tax return. These payment processor reports will probably show $12,000. They will also show probably some fees, and they'll also show sales tax collected. So you'll have to back that stuff out, but you want to make sure that you get those sales in there. And then you have your books that should also show the $12,000 in sales. If they're off, you need to know why they're off. Reconcile it. Just make a little, if you know why, make a little reconciliation statement. Maybe you have some affiliate income that you didn't put on your sales tax return. You want to have that stuff, because if you get audited, then it makes it very easy to say, hey, yeah, I know that I showed $15,000 on my 1099 and I only showed 12 on my return, but it's because I had a $3,000 affiliate check come in, and then I didn't report on the sales tax return. That makes it a lot easier to substantiate and defend, and it will also resolve your audit much faster if you have that stuff prepared. So this is the time. This is the time. Don't wait till the last minute to do it. You'll have to do it at year end anyway, but it's a lot easier to clean up 2 months worth of work versus all 12. So this is the process. Again, let's walk through it. Get your payment processor reports, line those up, get your sales. Do those match the books? Great, they match the books, we can move on. Check, do your sales tax returns match? You want your total, we want to make sure that all of that lines up. And then all of this will line up and should line up with the sales amount that you show in your income tax return. And again, if it doesn't, know why. It's okay if it's off. It can be off. Maybe you have a property you sold or like a car you sold and you have extra gain in there and stuff. Just make sure you understand that. And if you don't, work with your CPA. Make sure that they're on board, because if you get all this lined up, you're probably a lot less likely to get audited because you have things that match. And if you do get audited, because there's no guarantee, it's easier to defend when things line up. So again, that's the key. I'm going to focus on expenses here coming up. We'll talk about those and some things that you can do. But anyway, if you got a lot of value out of this content, again, like this video, share it with your friends that need to hear it, and subscribe to my channel for more great content. Have a great day.